reflections. I have been learning so much lately. I feel like my process is on rush right now, and I felt like I was catching up with a lot of the things that I should have learned, which, like, I mean, yeah, it's probably true. But also, I feel like I finally put myself in the highest timeline to reach my highest potential because I want to be my best self, and because I'm like finally like fully 100% like I mean this and I'm putting that out there. So I'm being faced with a lot of these lessons, and it's been great. Yo, when I did that, it was one of the craziest feelings. Like, I was just in such a better mood, like all the bullshit just like washed away. And that's a long video in itself. I tried making it the other night, but it was too late and I was tired. It ended up not turning out good. So I'm gonna do that later. So one of the lessons I was getting recently was not to victimize myself, which I didn't think I was, but the people around me was telling me that. The situations I was in was telling me that. So I've been learning to just listen to what everything around me and what people are telling me is saying, and just and taking accountability for that, because like maybe I don't think I am because of the way I perceive it, or it's subconscious. But yeah, to learn and grow, you have to face those things. And one of the situations recently was I kept getting from my community that I was not being appreciative, not being supportive, which I thought I was. Like, everything that I do is for community building, for my people, or so I thought. But I just thought maybe people aren't receiving it because I don't show it the way that they want. And I thought that was the issue, was just, just not seeing things the same. But going deeper into it, I was the common denominator, and I kept getting that reflected back. So, like, how on both sides do people not feel appreciated, not feel supported? It's like, why do we both feel that way? And what can be done about that? Like, you can't change how the other person feels. All you could do is change yourself, your reactions, your actions. So, yeah, again, like, I was the common denominator. So, what is the issue? Like, why am I feeling this, and why do I keep getting this? One of the observations that homie had was, okay, well, maybe you're not feeling appreciated and supported, so you're not giving that out. And if both people are doing that, then it's just going to be a cycle of like, yeah, no one is giving that because they're not receiving it, so it's not going to go anywhere. So I started taking that into myself of, okay, well, maybe I do have to be the first one to do it, and then it'll be a cycle. And then this is where the victimizing part comes in, because like, especially when it comes to like community love and support and appreciation, being seen, all of that, I had this narrative that because I didn't really get a lot of this growing up, or I didn't know how to communicate with people, I didn't have people that I would reach out to, or I didn't know how to reach out to people. I didn't have people that really checked in on me like that cared. So because of this narrative, and this is me, or was me, victimizing myself, that because I didn't have that, I felt like I couldn't do that. And a lot of people get stuck in that, and instead of breaking that cycle, they stay in that cycle because, like, maybe it's subconscious, or they don't think that that is a cycle, that is a victim mentality, but it is, and that's something that has been brought to my attention, and I think that I have learned now. And I've been partially doing that, at least like with the communication. Like, I've never been good at communication. I never felt like I was able to open up, but I did start doing that with my community. Like, I did start opening up, and I did start being more vulnerable with people, and maybe it wasn't to the extent that I wanted, but now that I'm more aware of those things, I can be. And now that this is in my awareness, I can change those things. So again, communication was not so good for me, and especially like reaching out to people. Like, I've always had this narrative of like, I don't reach out to people, I don't talk to my friends, like I don't text them, I don't call them, just because like I don't want to, it takes a lot of energy or whatever. And that's cool if I want to do that, but then there is a consequence to that of me, like, I don't have the energy to reach out to people, and I don't like being on the phone. I'm sovereign, I could do that, but then also other people are allowed to feel a certain way of, oh, well, she never calls me, she never talks to me or checks up on me, so I feel a certain way about that. And that's something that that other side, like that consequence to like my action, is something that I didn't think about. And that is a thing. Like, there is a consequence to every action, whether it is something that you think is going out directly or like having a ripple effect or not. It is. We don't realize how powerful all of us are, like all of our beings, and like how much we affect the world. We think that we're just one person and we're not going to have an effect on the environment around us, but we do. Just something as simple as, I don't like being on the phone. And you think that other people might understand that. You understand from your inside why you feel that way, and you're allowed to feel that way, but people aren't inside of you and they don't know how you feel, so they're going to feel a certain way. And that's just like a really simple, not huge example. Just like imagine the ripples of like every other action we do. Getting a little off topic here. Anyways, going back to my point, if we want to accept, like, if I wanted to accept, like, oh, I just don't like to call and that's it. My relationships, this timeline I choose to stay in, it's only gonna get so far. If I choose to just not talk to my people, maybe some of them are gonna understand, but a lot more of them are probably not going to understand and are not going to appreciate that, and are not going to want to be around me or stick around for so long because they don't feel like I'm important to their life. That is how that timeline would play out. So me wanting to be at my highest timeline, I have to cut the victimizing of, oh, I just don't know how to reach out to people, I don't know how to maintain relationships. I need to not think in that timeline, and I need to just get over myself and the uncomfortability of learning a new skill and reaching out to people and learning how people want to feel loved, learning what makes them feel appreciated by just being there for them, being supported. So yeah, that is something that I am learning this week. And also part of that is part of growth, especially like when it comes to social situations like that, is like having the, or checking your pride rather, to admit when you're wrong and to admit that you can be better and that you need to be better and showing up for people better. And as much work as all these things might be, if you want to be on your highest timeline, you have to do all the work, get through all the uncomfortable situations, because it is worth it and it is going to be better for you in the end. And also facing like the consequences to your actions, because yeah, that's people, we don't like people to be mad at us, we don't like people to be hurt or to like feel like whatever negative emotions, but we have to overcome that anyways, and we have to face that, especially like if you want to be your best self. You have to, again, like that is the uncomfortable part of it, is facing these things, facing the reactions from people, but you have to do it. You have to take accountability for your actions and be understanding of the other side. You can't blame them for acting a certain way. Like a lot of people do that where they know that they did something wrong, but for some reason still feel a certain way when the other person reacts angrily or annoyed or whatever, when that is just a consequence to our action, and to react in a negative way back like that, it's not gonna go anywhere. Like it's just not the right way. And another part of that too, I feel like I've gotten really good at this because I practice being kinder to myself, but I know a lot of other people beat themselves up when it comes to stuff like that. When they do hurt people or they do something wrong, they make themselves pay for it over and over again, and that isn't really working. It's like not really doing anything for you either, because you're being stuck in the past, you're not moving forward, and you're not being present. So accepting that you're human and that you are going to make mistakes is a part of the process too, and accepting the consequences of your actions, even if it's not ideal. So for example, like if you do something and a person, they react a certain way and maybe they cut you off, and you don't want that person to cut you off and you want them to stay in your life, you have to accept, you have to let them be sovereign and do what they want to do. Don't try to force them to stay in your life. You have to deal with the consequences of your actions, and don't resist that. It sucks and you might not want that to happen, but that is reality. That is how the universe works, and maybe it'll make you more mindful of your actions going forward. Yeah, to make the point clear, when it comes to victimizing, you can't stay in that victim mentality of, I never learned this, or holding on to traumas and how they shaped your life and letting that control you. You're giving power to the traumas, to whatever situations. And a lot of people do that not realizing, subconsciously or whatever, like not really perceiving it to be victimizing, victim mentality, but it is. And yeah, that's something that I did. Don't say like, oh, I never learned this. No, fucking learn it. Like, you can learn now. You're an adult. It's the same thing when people say healing, like whatever happened to you, you did not deserve as a child, but you're an adult now, and it is your responsibility to heal from it. And same thing with whatever we did or didn't learn. Yeah, that's it for this video. I have to share my experience of putting myself in my highest timeline, because that experience was crazy. And you know what to do: like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Put yourself in your best timeline for 2024. Happy New Year and peace.